fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
It's a brand new year. 2024. Don't need that anymore. You know, it's the one night all year. 365 days, 52 weeks, 12 months. The one time that I stay up past midnight that I'm not anticipating waking up from a bunk someplace, climbing out to the rail, wiping my eyes to the sunrise and starting to offshore fish. The one time. Well, that's a photo, by the way. That photo of me, that's the one time in my life that I got seasick. 10-foot rollers on the Miss Barnegat Light, and I had a bologna sandwich sometime in the 70s on a bluefish trip. I'm Jim Hutchinson, New Jersey, Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. It's Thursday, January 4th, 2024, and 57 days from now, from this day, from this moment, New Jersey's Back Bay striped bass fishery will reopen again. But until then, there's no targeting striped bass, not catch and release, not harvest, no targeting striped bass west of the coal regs in the Garden State. That means the inlets, the bays, the salty rivers, they're all off limits. So yes, you can continue to catch striped bass on the beach and out to 3 miles. You just can't behind the barrier islands. That's the way it's been for a long time. And a lot of folks, several folks have emailed or texted me asking why. Well, I'm not exactly sure. Since last week's video fishing forecast, the one thing that I've always known, it's been my understanding from speaking with folks over the years, that New Jersey has prohibited the targeting of striped bass in the back bays and salty rivers going back to the time before striped bass was a game fish, a no-sale game fish. That was 1991. So if you go back to 1990 and before, there was a commercial harvest on striped bass, commercially sold, commercially harvested, and you can get it at restaurants. But at that time, the state of New Jersey, my understanding is they prohibited the harvesting of striped bass from the back bays because those stripers tend to congregate together. You know, they sit in those deep holes where it makes them very easy to harvest in the winter months. They're lethargic, they don't move around a lot. And that's pretty much the way it is, and it's the same way today. I know there's no commercial harvest, there's only a recreational harvest, but again, when you find those fish in those deep holes, they're relatively easy to catch at that point. Then that drives some folks to ask, well, why don't we have a catch and release fishery and no harvest? Well, I guess theoretically that's because there's a 9% mortality rate on catch and release striped bass, right? So recreationally speaking, every 200 stripers you release, that's 9 that are considered dead. And then on top of that, you've got to consider that NOAA Fisheries does not even administer their Marine Information Recreational Program, Marine Recreational Information Program, MRIP. They don't do MRIP surveys in January and February. So you got to keep that in mind too, because if there's no MRIP survey in January and February, then how do these statisticians compile harvest and effort from recreational fishermen in New Jersey in January and February? The answer is they don't. The only harvest or effort data they would get in January and February comes from the for-hire boats, the head boats and charter boats that are still sailing right now. Most every one of them is federally permitted to fish outside of 3 miles for fish like black sea bass or fluke. And if those boats are if they've got the federal permits, then they've got to keep a vessel trip report on every trip, and they do that electronically. Hence the name EVTR, Electronic Vessel Trip Reports. Most of the boats you'll see listed in the Fisherman magazine in the reports section, the guys that are still sailing now, they went through December and they're going to try to fish January and February. Those folks all keep those EVTRs. Right? And that means that all this data is available, even though NOAA Fisheries doesn't necessarily use it. And I bring this up because tonight, on this night, Thursday, January 4th, the New Jersey Marine Fisheries Council will meet at 5 p.m. in Galloway Township. That's at the Atlantic County Library there, 306 East Jimmy Leeds Road in Galloway. Federal fisheries managers have given states the ability to reopen the porgy fishery during the winter months, which would be a big boon to those for hire boats that are still operating in January and February. And of course, for the anglers, all of us who are looking for another option during these colder months. Now, I spoke to a council member the other night, a friend of mine, who told me the state does plan to address this. And hopefully we hear more at Thursday, the New Jersey Marine Fisheries Council meeting. Whatever comes out of that meeting, I will bring that to you next Thursday in our weekly video fishing forecast. But we could find out more information about porgy, and I know a lot of the headboat operators especially are chomping at the bit to be able to open up porgy. Because of course sea bass closed. Sea bass and porgy both closed on December 31st, and with black sea bass there's nothing we can do about it. So most boats now that you'll find in the Fisherman magazine, that you'll find if you go down to the local docks, most of them are focused on the tog fishery right now. There are a few boats that I know in Atlantic and Cape May County and down into Delaware as well, coming out of ports of Indian River and Lewis, Delaware, that are still trying to find some striped bass here and there. Most of those fish are scattered inside the line, but down a little bit south. But again, most of the for-hire fleet right now is sailing for blackfish in the New Jersey, Delaware region. And from getting the reports this week for thefisherman.com, I'm finding some up, some down. One good day, one bad day. It's up and down. I will tell you this, though. We have had some solid blackfish reported in the last couple of weeks, and we've had some good ones since we reported last week in our video fishing forecast. Richard Rourke sent this shot of Ralph Kosis on the Miss Arlene. That's out of Point Pleasant Fish and Yacht Club, that private boat. They were out on Saturday, December 30th, 19.7 pounds, 29 inches, caught on 20-pound test, and yes, released to fight another day. John Howell, he told me that he was out with the Jersey Boys sport fishing crew on Friday, got himself a personal best blackfish at Garden State North, 11.755 pounds, weighed that in over at Creekside Outfitters in Waretown. Heard from Greg Kudnick. Captain Greg Kudnick runs a charter boat out of Barnegat Light, runs Fisherman's headquarters in Ship Bottom. He had Tony Butch out on New Year's Day. First drop, Tony hit a double digit, 10.22 pound tog. He followed that up with another fish in the 7 to 8 pound range. They caught a bunch of tog on a bunch of different drops. Ultimately, Tony got a gray fish tag into another 10.12 pound monster for the day. So yeah, there's some good blackfish out there. You just got to find the right wreck snags. Got to be out there on the right day. Captain Ralph Layer, I spoke to him. Captain Ralph runs the Last Lady out of Neptune on the Shark River. He said New Year's Eve was about the best tog fishing of the entire 2023 season. Said it was, quote, dropping real fishing. Then he followed that up with another pretty good day on Monday as well. For a glimpse at who's sailing, if you want to get in on some of this blackfish action, again, January edition, Fisherman magazine, New Jersey, Delaware Bay. And the reason I bring that up is because it's like the old Yellow Pages. You go into the reports section, all these folks advertising here, they're letting you know when they're sailing, what port they're sailing from. You've got the whole listing there with all the sailing schedules throughout the 2024 season into February. Of course, we'll have the February edition. But if you want a free copy of this, get a complimentary copy of the January edition of the Fisherman magazine, come on out to the Wildwood Convention Center this Saturday or Sunday, January 6th, January 7th. The Fisherman magazine will be there at the Wildwood Fishing and Boating Expo. For more on this show and the rest of our January lineup in the tri-state region, let's check in with Jenny Ackerman for open boat advice on curing cabin fever as we start this new year.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Open Boat. It's the winter time. Are you bored? Do you miss your stripers? Have you been organizing your plug wall 80 times over and over, or watching your favorite fishermen on YouTube on loop day after day? Well, if you're in the winter doldrums of boredom, I have some great news for you. Because from January through March, the Fisherman magazine has been promoting a ton of fishing shows on the website under the calendar of events. There are awesome fishing and boating expos in every single region, New Jersey, Long Island, New England, that you guys should definitely check out. And it'll help you fill in those wintertime gaps you're missing in your fishing season. You can check out new fishing products. You can check out some new features, everything fishing related you can ever imagine. Now, coming up this Saturday for New Jersey is the Wildwood Fishing and Boating Expo. It is the whole weekend, but if you wanted to catch up on some fluke fishing tactics, be sure to stop in on Saturday and watch my fluke seminar where I teach you some tips and tricks, maybe give you some freebies if you show up, and help you guys get ready to catch your doormat fluke the next fluke season. So I hope to see you guys all there. And remember, the Fisherman Magazine calendar events featured on their website is going to be your new best friend to help you get through the wintertime season. So definitely come to these events. And another bonus to coming to these events is you subscribe or renew your subscription to the Fisherman Magazine at said events. You get a ton of awesome freebies, such as a $20 SureHold gift card and a 4-inch eye pop from Tsunami Tackle, which is perfect for popping up some back bay stripers, bluefish, and weakfish. So you definitely do not want to miss out on those excellent opportunities. And I hope to see you guys all at the shows.
Hey, listen, if you're an exclusive surfcaster, then the New Jersey Beach Buggy Association has something for you this weekend as well. They have their Pete D'Alessio Memorial Flea Market on Saturday, January 6th. It's co-sponsored by the Toms River South High School Fishing Club. It's being held from 9 till 2 for your $4 admission. But if you want the early bird entry at 8 a.m., 8 a.m. entry is $8. If you want to get in there, if you know some plugs that are going to be in there, you want to scoop them up before anybody else. That event on Saturday is going to be held at the Toms River High School South at 55 Higher Street in Toms River. Under 12 are admitted free. If you want more information, go to njbba.org. Some stripers, though, are still in the surf at this point. Choose a nice warm day, get out there a little after dawn or a little bit before dusk in the late afternoon. And you can score. Again, tins and teasers, sand eel imitations. I spoke to Ray at Grumpy's this week. He said the action in the surf is actually better than anybody would expect. If you find the right hole, there's plenty of fish out there. It's just lack of participation. But again, break out those sand eel imitations with the teasers and you can get in on them. Again, striped bass in the back, closed, no targeting. Striped bass out front along the surf, still open. You still have the opportunity. I would tell you, though, that I have gotten the impression from talking to a lot of people at the tackle shops and also fellow anglers, there are loads and loads of striped bass that are set up to hold over in these back bays and estuaries. Toms River is loaded with them. I would imagine the Mullica is loaded, Great Egg, probably the Raritan as well. Again, they're off limits in January and February, but let's look at the glass as half full. With the amount of fish that are holding over in the back bays right now, I think the spring run is going to be fantastic because when striped bass opens up again in New Jersey on March 1st, we're going to have all those holdover fish before we get the migratory fish running in as well. We will find a lot of bycatch stripers this season from the guys perch fishing. I spoke to Dennis at the Hook House in Toms River. He's got bloodworms. Captain Dave at Absecon Bay, he's got bloodworms. They're coming in on a regular basis for you guys looking for perch. Akira at True World in Bayonne, he's got bloodworms so that you can get out there and give that white perch fishery a shot. Dennis says right now the best bite is at night along the Toms River. But again, white perch, relative of striped bass, tasty panfish, outstanding option that you've got for January and February. And I will tell you this. Do me this favor, if you're heading out white perch fishing in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, email those photos over to me at jhutchinson@thefisherman.com. I would love to use one of your white perch photos in an upcoming edition of the Fisherman magazine. And again, those spinies are down in those creeks and estuaries coming off the Delaware, in Delaware as well, White Creek, areas like that. So white perch is going to be one of your best options for continuing into this early part of the 2024 season. Last week, I said on the video fishing forecast that I was looking forward to getting out into the trout streams for a late 23, early 24 rainbow trout. In actuality, I got a tip on some good striper fishing in the upper stretches of Barnegat Bay. Took a little fish on Saturday, then I went back out Sunday at dusk into dark. Beautiful conditions. Tsunami swim shad. I didn't get any touches on Sunday, but my neighbors, I was going to a New Year's Eve party, regrettably, and my friends that didn't were catching striped bass. So you got to make your priorities, get your priorities straight. One striper fisherman I know whose priorities are always straight, always wants a tug on the line. He was out in the wilds of New Jersey, the wild trout streams. Chuck Manny, striper hunter, got out there on the trout grounds and got himself into a beautiful couple of trout in New Jersey. I don't think there's a day that goes by that Chuck does not wet a line. God bless his heart. A lot of folks have their hearts set on some ice fishing this month. Well, we do have a bread and milk event coming up this weekend you'll want to watch out for. I don't think we're going to see a lot of the white stuff along the coast, but everybody's screaming and yelling, bread and milk, got to get the bread and milk. For more on the ice fishing forecast, let's check in with my friend George, the Pocono Outdoors Guy.
Well, hey, thanks, Jim. Just Happy New Year to everybody, and I hope this year turns out to be a great year for a bunch of new PBs. So we're looking forward to seeing all your photos as we get through the year. But right now, I'll tell you what, guys, there's just no ice to be had. I know many of you are already on the hard water, but right now we're just enjoying a bunch of open water fishing. A lot of guys are out there on it, like my good friend Rich Bates. He's been out doing a lot of bass fishing lately and being pretty successful. He says they're up on the weed lines, and it's just kind of like October fishing here, actually in January. But he is managing to get on those muskie, which are great cold water fish. And there's a great one here. He got up on the Lac-O-Axon, so great job. Keep chasing those muskie, Rich. Also, we have the trout season. You know, this is the extended season. We keep talking about it. We had that, enjoying that until about February 16th. But guys like Eric Goodsdahl, our local, he's been out there getting into some beautiful brown trout down here on some of these local creeks. Also over in Jersey, Jen Wong out there chasing a bunch of those rainbows. I know he's working a lot of those small jigs under floats and being pretty successful with that tactic as well. Now, guys, you know the bass season, or striped bass season, is closed in New Jersey in the back bays and tributaries, but it's open here in Pennsylvania, you know, in the Sweetwater. So we don't have closed season here in these lakes like Nakamix and Wallenpaupack, even Beltsville. Local guy Josh Taylor out with the first striper of the year on Beltsville. Now, you got to remember, guys, it is cold water, so these fish are really slow and lethargic. They're using a lot of live bait, cut bait, and drifting that real slow through some of these productive areas. But lots of great fish to be had, so I hope you're out and getting on them. But from Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors Guy.
Mentioning emails before, I got a nice one this week from Trish Campbell, who said her son Landon Shank lives in northwestern Pennsylvania, had a very fine Christmas. A new rod and reel, some new tackle, plus he got a new boat. I'm not sure how that fit under the tree, but Landon enjoyed it all the same on the day after Christmas along the Allegheny River near Ford City, PA. Put his new gifts to good use. God bless you, Landon. While weather has been mild here in the Northeast so far, temperatures are now going down into the 20s with a little bit more regularity. So it might be a good time to really start plotting out your tropical excursions for some time in 2024. Let's head out to the Pacific coast of Costa Rica. Check in with Captain Ben out there at Marina Pez Vela in Capos.
Guys, good morning. This is Ben Gilmore from here in Costa Rica. How you all doing? A big Happy New Year to everybody. The fishing report down here, guys, is red hot right now. We got a really good sailfish bite going on. Lots of boats in the double-digit sailfish releases in the past week or so. There's been a few blue marlin out there, a few striped marlin also, and an amazing Dorado mahi-mahi bite, guys. Just some of the best Dorado fishing we've had here for a long time. It's been super strong since November. We're catching a lot of big bulls now. 20, 30 pounders, very common. There was a 55 pounder caught yesterday down here. A little further out, guys, kind of 25, 30 miles out, we're finding some yellowfin tuna as well. And there's been a couple of big hog wahoo caught over the last week as well. Inshore along the beaches, there's some snook, snappers and roosterfish as well, guys. Just check out the weather down here, guys. Absolutely beautiful. Please come down and see us soon. This is Ben Gilmore and the Marina Pez Vela.
Hey, don't forget your license and registration. You can just go to saltwaterregistry.nj.gov. I've got that memorized for getting my saltwater registry every year. But if you look on the right-hand side, you'll see the register button there. That will take you to the new internet sales portal, which collects all your information so you can get all of your checkout items, right? You can get your free registry and print that out. You can pay for your freshwater fishing license. Either have that delivered or print that out. You can get your trout stamp. Everything that you need is right there, and I get there because I can remember saltwaterregistry.nj.gov. It's a new system. Some folks have said that they're having a couple of little problems along the way. Thursday night in Galloway tonight. We'll see if anything comes out of that meeting from the folks at the Division of Fish and Wildlife. If they are, I will pass that on next week in our video fishing forecast. But if you do have troubles at that portal, just find the frequently asked questions area, because in there it will answer a couple of questions that I've been getting from people that are having trouble registering from out of state. And I think there's also a phone number in there that you can get talked through the process. Now, if you plan on traveling this winter from Maine to Maryland, you can go to one place at thefisherman.com, look for 2024 license and registration. We have all the states from Maine to Maryland, and one link right there so you can get your license and registration depending on what you need. It's right there. Go over to thefisherman.com for that. And of course, don't forget about that January edition of the Fisherman magazine. It's on newsstands, it's in Wawa's, tackle shops throughout the region. Become a Fisherman member this weekend in Wildwood, just $29.95 for the year. We'll send you out of the Wildwood Convention Center with your subscription and a brand new Tsunami iPop topwater popper, as well as a $20 gift certificate for Sure Hold boat equipment. Also be on the lookout for our 2 new bi-weekly boat reviews from John Ragusa. All those boats for 2024, there's like 50 some odd boats that are reviewed in this edition. But John Ragusa was down in Fort Lauderdale for the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show in the fall, and he's got 2 new boat reviews on video each week all the way through the month of February. Tuesday, we had the World Cat. Today's video is Grady White, but we've got some exciting boats to talk about. I know Valhalla has a brand new boat. They're going to be unveiling, of course, a New Jersey boat builder, right? They're going to be unveiling the new Valhalla later on this season at the Atlantic City Boat Show. Looking forward to being there. But make sure you sign up for our e-news alerts so you get every e-news alert. We have 2 newsletters that go out every week at thefisherman.com. You can go get that right there. So in addition to being a subscriber to our YouTube page, go over there and become a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine this season. Now, when you look at the boats, of course, everybody's saying, geez, the prices are high. Yeah, boat prices are high. Outboard prices are high. The cost of a dozen eggs is high. Everything is going just a little bit higher. But I'm kind of hoping that we see things level out in 2024 in this post-lockdown era, that we'll start seeing prices go down. I'm certainly not holding my breath, but that's what I'm thinking. Hey, listen, hope to see you out at Wildwood this weekend. Our staff is going to be there. If not, I'll see you again next week. The Fisherman magazine, and of course, at thefisherman.com.